I never thought I'd be telling a story like this, not because I believed in fairy tales or perfect relationships, but because I had faith in us. Sarah and I weren't just partners. For years, we were a team, a unit working toward a shared vision of the future. We talked about marriage, buying a house, maybe even kids someday, the kind of future people often dream about but few get to experience fully. Our relationship wasn't flawless, nothing ever is, but I believed it was strong enough to withstand the normal storms of life. In the early days, Sarah was the person I leaned on during difficult times. She was caring, funny, and ambitious. We connected over shared values and mutual respect. We built a home together, literally and figuratively. The house I purchased years before, using money from an inheritance and personal savings, became our sanctuary. It was modest, but cozy, a place where we dreamed and planned and simply existed in comfort. She contributed to the household expenses, utilities, groceries, small things, because that's what partners do. But legally, the house was mine. I never imagined that detail would one day become significant. Looking back, I realized there were signs that things were unraveling. Small shifts in her behavior, missed calls, evasive answers, unexplained absences seemed insignificant at first. I chalked it up to stress at work or just a rough patch we would get through together. But beneath the surface, Sarah was wrestling with her own doubts and desires. I wasn't the first person to know she had reconnected with James. James was the man from her past who I had warned her about repeatedly. He had a reputation for being unfaithful, unreliable, and emotionally manipulative. Despite knowing all this, Sarah allowed herself to be drawn back into his orbit. It was a slow erosion of trust. Then came the night that changed everything. She sat me down and told me she wanted a break. At first, I thought it might be a chance for us to breathe and reassess, to heal whatever was hurting between us. But no, she made it clear she intended to explore a relationship with James, to date him, to sleep with him, and to see if there was still something real there. She was effectively ending our relationship by her own hand, choosing to pursue him over us. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I made my stance clear. This was not a break for space or reflection. It was a break to be with someone else. I would not tolerate being an option or a fallback. I wasn't a doormat, as some people online later called me. I was a person with self-respect who demanded honesty and loyalty. Our engagement was over. The aftermath was swift and painful. I arranged to change the locks on our house. I boxed up all of Sarah's belongings carefully, not out of spite, but because that was the only way to draw a clean boundary. I offered her reasonable opportunity to collect them, accompanied by her sister Clara, who had become the family's most pragmatic voice during this turmoil. Clara was a key player in the story that followed. She was the first in Sarah's family to get a clear picture of the full extent of Sarah's decision. Sarah had gone to stay with Clara immediately after our breakup. At first, Sarah tried to spin the story, saying I was overreacting to a request for space, but Clara pressed her, knowing her sister well. When Sarah's true intentions, to pursue James, came out, Clara's disappointment was palpable. Clara warned Sarah about James, reminding her of his history and the damage he had caused. But Sarah was determined. Eventually, Clara informed Sarah's parents of the situation, and Sarah herself told them the full story. They sided with me. To them, I represented stability and a reliable future for their daughter. James was a known negative influence, someone with a record of broken relationships and poor judgment. Sarah's choice was seen as reckless and short-sighted, risking a good future for a chance to revisit a failed relationship. This family stance cut deeper than I expected. Sarah's parents were not only disappointed, but also directly communicated their disapproval to Sarah. They expressed regret that she had jeopardized her future because of poor choices. They saw my response, ending the engagement, selling the house, not as the cause of the fallout, but as a consequence of Sarah's own decisions. And then Sarah's life unraveled further. Her emotional state deteriorated, and soon she lost her job. The details were murky, but Clara said it was related to her instability, which affected her work attendance and performance. Without a job, and effectively homeless after Clara asked her to find other accommodation, Sarah found herself increasingly isolated. Attempts to reconcile with family failed failed as well. Her parents insisted she needed to take responsibility, seek professional help, and rebuild her life independently. Sarah's refusal led to more strain and eventual estrangement. Through it all, Sarah continued trying to reach me. She created new social media accounts, called from unknown numbers, sent messages pleading for forgiveness or financial help. Had to be firm and clear. The door was closed and my resolve was unshakable. I changed my phone number, tightened all privacy settings, and blocked every new attempt. I refused to be dragged back into the chaos or to be manipulated. My sole communication since the breakup was indirect, through Clara, and later a trusted mutual acquaintance who conveyed my message to Sarah. No reconciliation, no discussion, and any further contact would be regarded as harassment. I wished her no ill will, but made it clear my life and my healing were my own to manage. Months passed, and the flood of updates slowed. Sarah reportedly left the state, possibly to live with distant relatives or simply to start over somewhere no one knew her history. I had no desire for further details. The information Claire provided about Sarah's situation felt like closing a chapter, difficult, painful, but necessary. Meanwhile, I focused on myself. I moved to a new city far from the past, started a new job, and embraced new opportunities. I worked hard, took on projects that challenged me, and slowly rebuilt my confidence and routine. New friendships formed, genuine and unburdened by past complications. I explored my new surroundings, finding solace in parks, museums, cafes, and quiet moments alone. Healing was not linear. Some nights were darker than others, filled with memories of what could have been, shared laughter, whispered promises, and the dreams that had now shattered. But I learned to confront the pain and let it strengthen me rather than break me. I understood that the love we had was real at one point, but was no longer sustainable in the face of betrayal and choices that left no room for compromise. Reflecting on the entire experience, I see it as a lesson in self-respect and clarity. When someone chooses recklessly and disregards the foundation of trust, the best response is to protect yourself, take control of your own narrative, and build a future unencumbered by past mistakes. My story is one of loss and heartbreak, but also of resilience and rebirth. Sarah's story is a cautionary tale of choices and consequences, of struggle and the challenge of finding a way forward when everything familiar is stripped away. Our paths have diverged irreversibly. Mine leads to growth, peace, and hope. Hers, wherever it leads, is hers to find. The house is sold. The past is behind me. My future is a blank canvas, waiting to be painted with new dreams, new hopes, and the possibility of happiness untainted by betrayal. And while the scars remain, they remind me not of failure, but of survival.